Hey y'all, welcome to a conversation that lit our table on fire. I'm Vinny, and this is just a taste of leather table history. At our first dinner, one statement really ignited the conversation, and that is TNG, or the next generation, isn't inherently leather. What do you think? Is it about age, experience, or who gets to decide what leather even is? This 13-minute cut throws you into the heart of that debate. No fluff, no easy answers. Our elder called out the cost of ignored wisdom, while our TNG guest demanded access without erasure. And everyone's asking, how do we actually learn when both generations are talking past each other rather than to one another? There's a link in the caption to our companion digital zine. Turn on your notifications to be alerted when the next episode is released. Without further ado, here's a taste of leather table history.
When we started talking about TNG, which I got kicked out of because I'm 36 now.
Oh, what?
The month before I turned, but I never.
Wait, you what?
They gave me my FetLife age said 36, and I didn't turn 36 yet, and I was like, oh, I'll go to this thing because I'm like doing stuff in Jersey, like come where the black people are, and they're like, sorry, you're old now, and I'm like, oh,
that's crazy.
And I've always hung out with like older folks anyway, but. When you were like TNG, can you speak to that? Because I thought that was really interesting.
Would love to.
That TNG is like inherently not leather.
It's not.
And divisive. So
because it's extremely leather to interface with your elders and to make relationship with them.
Right.
So no, TNG, for the record.
She's looking at it.
I'm staring down. Staring down the recording device. I don't believe that TNG is inherently leather because it cuts you off at a certain age. Because that's not to say that people who are 35 don't know things to teach a 18-year-old. It's not to say that. But can you imagine what a 65-year-old might have to say to an 18-year-old?
Yeah.
But okay, also as a copywriter, I talk a lot about like...
The kinky copywriter on Instagram.
Wow, please.
Instagram might not even be a thing in the future. This was a social media platform.
Let's hope it burns down to the ground.
We'll get the name copyright, don't worry. The website's coming.
There you go.
I'll put it in a newspaper.
Keep it alive.
But I talk a lot about how like internally, when you're writing your own information, sometimes you plant an idea in somebody's mind that didn't initially exist.
Okay.
So with TNG, having this thing where it's 18 to 35 and you can literally age out of it, and I'm to understand that there are certain situations where they go, in parentheses it says sometimes 40, whatever that means. I've seen it before.
Things way too much.
Of course.
Right.
Of course it does.
Right.
It's completely anyway. But you are planting already this idea that this is what my community looks like.
Right.
You're cutting that sphere off for them, right? And I, for the sake of this conversation, am only talking about how it relates to leather. It's the values of it are completely incongruous with how leather should behave. Community-wise, and when it comes to being in service to something that you may not see, because the 65-year-old person, the 70-year-old person, the 80-year-old person, they showed up to things so that your little ass could show up in a thong and a cowboy boot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They didn't know what it would look like several decades down the line.
Yeah.
Most of us only have 2 decades on this earth. We're verging on 3. But how much 10 years ago, what was I, 17? What was I doing?
Yeah.
On the internet researching BDSM.
Right.
But
that part.
But
being awakened.
Yeah. I was being awakened at 12. But still, what was I doing? It's a worth light years of difference that 10 years makes. So TNG can exist, whatever. I'm not gonna come and burn your shit down or anything. But I'm not gonna burn your shit. But anyway.
I'm gonna burn it down. But you keep talking.
So Raven said that, not Autumn.
Cancel.
But I do believe that it doesn't make any sense and like we live in a culture that completely desexualizes people of a certain age anyway, especially in a binary sense, especially women. And so for Sapphic communities, that is especially devastating because we already don't have places to exist and interface, but like let alone parties, because in your mind you're like, old people aren't sexy, which I'm like, you don't have any fucking taste. But anyway,
No, honestly, but that's none of my business.
But that's none of my business. You can be tasteless all you want to be.
Slide in my DMs.
Yeah.
Instagram not be real so much.
My address at this time.
But y'all find me.
Yeah. Meet me in the Home Depot bathroom.
Home Depot.
Yeah. Home Depot.
It's Home Depot.
Yeah. Home Depot. But yeah, totally. Like in your play party situation, you are already desexualizing people of a certain age. And then because Sapphic folks don't have several places to gather, it is especially devastating to sequester yourself by age. Because there's no situation where you might happen upon a person who's older than 35. Because all of your parties are curated to your liking as a 20-year-old. So
I feel like that also encourages then at that point people to be like, okay, well, I don't need to talk to anybody older than that, because for me, because they're either in their mind thinking like, oh, I've yet to see anyone of that age bracket. So when in reality it's you and a bunch of other people are like holding this idea, and it keeps going and it keeps cycling. And then now all those elders that like people that like you guys said, like, oh no, there's no elders out there. No, there are.
Well, but then you go to Imsel and you're overwhelmed.
Well, I'm still confused how you tell me at Emsel that people did not know. I'm still confused.
Oh yeah.
That people did not know that Emsel was a leather competition. That they did not see that there were elders there, and they thought it was just fucking in the courtyard. And I still don't understand that because it's all in one hotel.
It doesn't matter.
I don't understand.
It doesn't matter. The people plan their play during the time.
You're like, where's elders? And you're like literally at a place.
And I know that I was the one young person in the room for the contest.
Well, I always go to the ceremonies as well. But like, people plan their play when classes aren't happening, which is also when ceremonies are happening.
Yeah.
So I mean,
but then let me just say a thing.
Yeah.
That is very true. But you can't pay $185 or whatever the fuck it is and not read the description.
But wait, think about it. And let me just say, like, I'm a baddie who packs to wear something to the ceremony. So this is not me. But think about it. If Sapphic people do not really have places to gather like that, yes, I am paying $100 plus, $200 plus, whatever, to go fuck in the courtyard. Yes, for a weekend.
No, dude, I'm not saying we can't fuck in the courtyard.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is
that beat down last year.
Shut up. But what I am saying is that there are other things that are happening. And so if you're not interested in those things, that's on you.
Yeah, of course.
You can't say, well, we're the elders.
Of course.
When you're not going to seek those things out.
Right.
And so the thing about TNG, which I often say, y'all all breathe in the same air.
Totally. Yeah. The same Instagram air.
It's the same. Well, I came up, there was no internet. Okay? But also you all are breathing the same air. And so I could literally say and have said, here in New York with the TNG that started and didn't want older people, I know who taught you how to throw a whip because y'all are all throwing the whip the same way. And it's wrong.
Damn.
It's wrong because y'all are all breathing the same air. Right? And it wasn't until I was able to, we talked about family and leather, or Theo talked about leather family or leather community. It wasn't until I really came into community, was able to talk to someone who started New York City TNG, that I was able to say, y'all are breathing the same air. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get it. Y'all may want to play a certain way, but baby, we're not new to this. We true to this.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, older people have kept this alive for you, and then it became, well, let's bring some older people in to educate us.
Yeah.
Right.
Because then that was the only way that they had older people in.
To extract.
To,
Yeah.
okay, one more time. You know what I'm saying? And so when you say things like, how could you go to IMSL and not know? I understand that, but if you're looking just to fuck, sure. You want to fuck outside? Like, I told Izuli has to fuck on the train, right? And Izuli was like, what? What were you talking about? I was like,
fuck on the train,
girl. I used to fuck on the train a lot. In a park, on the train, you know, and the look on your face is like, what? That shit was...
No, I'm pretty sure you was fucking on the train.
I'm surprised.
Yeah, am I shocked? No.
I don't know if you want to do it again, but I'm... Sorry.
We're here to sexualize elders.
Yeah.
And as tribute to how TNG has fucked things up.
Yeah.
But also...
I'll do reparations for it.
How many sorries do I owe you?
And how do you want them?
Y'all done?
We don't have to do
but also that I agree with Autumn saying that, you know, you've done this thing and you've closed yourself off.
Yes.
So when we had that conversation at IMSL that year, and then literally I said, but y'all didn't want us around. But now here in 2024, 2023, y'all are screaming about consent violations. But if you had us around, you would have known that person's not safe. This person does this. This person does that. Because y'all are all breathing the same air. And you don't know how to negotiate or consent to something. Now all of a sudden, consent is this big thing. So when y'all talk about consent, I'm like, what are y'all talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because even though I wouldn't say consent was a big thing when I came out into the kink community or the leather community, we did police ourselves. So
and
we
each other.
knew, and each other. Thank you. Sorry. Thank you, Canada. You know, and each other. And that was also standing on business. It's like, oh, I'm in the dungeon and I'm seeing you. This guy is talking to you, or this person's talking to you. Let me get you real quick off to the side and be like, nah, that person's not safe. And then you
have a relationship with
but you do what you want to do. Right? But I know for myself, because I'm saying I'm standing on business, I have integrity, I have to tell you this person isn't safe. Right? But if you still want to do that, that's on you. Right? And then I'm good. Right? But also, we didn't have the internet. So you couldn't run to the internet and be like, oh, this happened. And then when you ask, well, did you talk to the person? And it's like, well, no. I didn't talk to the person. I just ran to the internet. Whereas before, we were all talking to each other. We all were at the same party. We were all we were all in this kind of community, like, for real.
And now it's like apologizing to the internet rather than apologizing to the person.
And now you have the internet. And so you run to the internet and you say this thing, and you can damage somebody, right? And you're doing it to the masses, but then when you find out, oh, my bad, I was wrong, you know, like I said... Exactly. You already put it out there. You can't unring the bell.
Damage control.
It already happened. So when I was saying to the people in the room, now y'all are saying, oh, our consent is being violated. It's because you did this to yourself, right? Because you've exiled all the older people who knew a thing, right? And I get it. I was young, you know, believe it or not.
I believe you came out just like this.
I did.
Cigar in hand.
I came
Lit.
Cigar.
Sitting in the baby girl.
I came out with, you know, kinky hair and dark skin. But you've already removed all of these people. But now you're saying, well, we don't know where the elders are, one. And then two, you're talking about this whole consent thing. But y'all don't want to, and I'm not saying y'all, but then folks don't want to listen. Right? And so I can tell you how a thing is, but if you don't want to listen, that's on you. You know what I'm saying?
Hello again. Hopefully this clip stirred your appetite. Come back and satiate your palate with the full meal when we drop the uncut version. Consider this your invitation. You'll hear the stories that simmered beneath the surface, the silences that spoke volumes, and why this debate is far from over. Subscribe now so you don't miss a bite. And tell us below, what's your take on who holds leather's future?